Okay, how's it going, YouTube? I am back. I got this video. I'm gonna make it short. I'm gonna keep it under 7 minutes. Okay, we're gonna keep it under 7 minutes. So here we go. I gotta lay my kids down in 7 minutes. So here we go. Um, this is the battle of rose fragrances from my experience. Now, Al did a rose experience with some females, yada yada yada. I've had this on for about 10 minutes, so you know it's settled some. So I'm gonna give you my impressions on one, two, three, four, five rose fragrances. Um, and I'm gonna tell you what I think, which one I think's the best. I have all of them on right now. So here we go. But first, let's talk about. Here are the five fragrances. The first one, Rose Oud by Killian. The second one, Le Lobo Rose 31. The third one is also from Le Lobo. It is Baie Rose. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of faded. The next one is Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and I think it's called Lumiere. I think that's how you pronounce it. Lumiere. I don't know. So anyway, that's that one. And finally, I have from our very own former YouTube reviewer and great perfume, gifted perfume. I have Whips and Roses. So I have them here. Rose Oud is here. Maison is here. Baie Rose is here. Rose 31 is here. And Whips and Roses is here. So, okay. Okay, so now first let's talk about natural. Um, the more natural rose, the most natural rose, I think, to my nose when I think about something that smells extremely natural. The two fragrances that I'm going to put first are, you know what? I'll put them in order. So from five to one, number number from one to five, from five to one, from five to one. Number five will be Rose 31. It has the least natural rose smell. Number four is going to be Whips and Roses. Now, I'm not saying none of these roses are bad. I'm just telling you the most natural smell to my nose. Number three is going to be Rose Oud. Number two is going to be Baie Rose. And number one is going to be Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Now, those are the way they smell. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about projection. Let's go lightest to heaviest. The lightest for me is Rose 31. The next, which is sort of surprising, is the Maison. Number three is going to go a three-way tie. Both Rose Oud, Baie Rose, and Whips and Roses all have about an A plus in the projection range right now. I mean, I've been wearing it for about 20 minutes. Right now, they're both all kicking equally the same. So that's number two. Number three, let's talk about uniqueness. Um, let's go from least unique to most unique. Least unique is Rose 31. Just smells good. Next, surprisingly, I mean, I'm just talking about uniqueness here, is Maison Francis. Number three is going to be Baie Rose. Number two is going to be Rose 31. And number one is going to be Whips and Roses, as Whips and Roses is the most unique of these fragrances. Now, let's talk about likability for me. Let's talk about if I was to purchase all of these fragrances, which one would I purchase and in which order? Now, I'm going to take this personal. This is just my perspective. Um, Given natural price points, just given original prices. Well, you know what? Let's not talk about that right now. I'll come back to that. Let's talk about versatility. The most versatile one is going to be, well, the least versatile one is going to be maybe Rose 30. No, maybe Rose Oud. Next least versatile one would be Baie Rose, sort of heavy. Next one is going to be Whips and Roses. Nice, I think you pull off, but it's quite heavy. The leather in it, the leather in it sort of gives it a little kick. Number 2 is going to be Maison Francis, and I think it's tied because I can wear both of these any time of the year in almost any situation, with this one having better quality. So now let's go into what I would purchase. If I was to do it all over and I was to purchase any of these fragrances, the one that I would purchase last, maybe, would probably be taking price into consideration. Let me go this way. Would probably be Baie Rose, right? So number 5 would be Baie. I would bet this would be the least purchase. This would be one I would probably purchase last. Number 4, because of price again, would be Rose 31. Number 3. Now let's get into this. Number 3 would be Whips and Roses. Number 2 would be Rose 31, and the one I would purchase first maybe is Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I would probably purchase this one first. Let's talk about compliments as I've worn these. Most complimented, surprisingly, is Rose 31. I get the most compliments on Rose 31 out of these. The next one is Rose Oud. I get a deal of compliments. Number 2 would be Whips and Roses. Now I've worn Maison 3 times. This would be the 4th least complimented, and the least complimented is Baie Rose. People just never really said anything. I don't know why. I only wore it once, so I only wore it once. So I'm not, it's not really fair to really put it in and to put it in perspective. I've worn it once, so that's it. Now, where did I go? Now let's talk about my favorites. Let's talk about what I just really love. Purchase, all that. Let's take price out and say, what do I really love? My favorite of all these fragrances, my favorite is probably Maison Francis Kurkdjian. My second favorite is Rose Oud. My third favorite is my third favorite is probably Whips and Roses. My second favorite is probably Lobo, and my least favorite is Baie Rose for some reason. It's just people talk about it a lot, but comparable to these other fragrances, I just I mean, it's nice, but I mean, just nothing very, very special to me. So this is probably my least favorite fragrance. This is my least favorite one. Maison Francis Kurkdjian is probably my favorite. For some reason, it just has this delicious aroma. And I really like Rose 31. I mean, I really like Whips and Roses, and I really like Rose Oud. So, if I was to rate these fragrances, let me just rate them on just quality, everything. Just let's just talk about everything. Quality. If I was to give stars, Rose Oud is a 4.5 star fragrance. Whips and Roses is a 4-star fragrance. Rose 31 is a 4-star fragrance. Baie Rose for me is a 3-star fragrance, and a 5-star would be Maison Francis Kurkdjian. So at the end of the day, Maison Francis wins. I think Pegasus' will is still splitting this. If so, guys, get 10 mils of it. If I didn't have, I currently have 10 mils. If I didn't, I mean, I probably have 8 mils now. I would run out and buy this fragrance in a heartbeat if I had experience. I mean, I would tell you now it is a safe blind buy. I think it is very, 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 very gorgeous fragrance. And I do like the others. Now, here's what I would say. Redundancy. This is the last part I want to talk about. You don't need all 5 of these fragrances. Let me give you a reason. Let me see. I personally don't think you need Rose 31 and Maison Francis Kurkdjian. You only need one of these 2 fragrances. And me, I would choose this one. So if I replenish, if I run out of these, if I run out of this by the end of the year, I'll probably go with this one next. The only reason I would consider keeping this is because I think it has probably the greatest versatility. This is can be worn in the summer, it can be worn in the spring, it can be worn in the fall, it can be worn in the winter. It's just, the vetiver and the rose and the woodiness of it makes it just a quality fragrance. It is a Rose 31. It is a quality fragrance. Um, where was I at? Redundancy again. I don't think you need. Okay, how about this? Baie Rose would be purchased because it is probably the least like these other fragrances outside of maybe Rose Oud. But Rose Oud is kind of oud and rosy. But personally, I don't think you need both of these. Um, for me, I would choose Rose Oud over Baie Rose, my perspective. Now, one that you should have, because it is the most unique out of these, is Whips and Roses. Whips and Roses is the most unique. Man, it's very natural, and then this leather kicks in, and it's just like this tug of war between leather and rose, and neither of them are really winning. I mean, well, you know what? The leather is putting the rose in submission as it starts to end, as the fragrance starts to dry down. The you know, but the rose is still there. I mean, you can still the rose head is peeking out, but the leather is kind of winning the fight. But it's sort of a sweet leather jacket leather, like you walk into one of those leather stores, Burlington Coat Factory or something. It smells like that. It's not a dirty, animalistic leather. It is a more natural, wearable leather. And it makes for a very good fragrance. So Whips and Roses is probably the most unique of these. And something I say, even if you had these other fragrances, I think Whips and Roses will still qualify to be in your collection because of just what it offers. So I said I was going to keep this short. I'm already at 12 minutes. So that is my battle of rose fragrances. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 is the number one spot goes to Maison. Number 2 spot goes to Rose. Number 3 spot goes to Whips. Number 4 spot goes to Rose 31. And 5th is Baie Rose. Baie Rose is nice. It's just nothing I would run out and get. I'm sorry. A lot of people love it, but Maison kind of does it better for me. So, that's it for me. Greatly appreciate it. Peace.